So I thought in this video, since I have been getting some queries from people asking me what sort of equipment I would use when I'm out vlogging and I'm taking videos of, street food and being impromptu and being very spontaneous. So I thought in this video we would discuss that a little bit and also show you some of the things that I do use, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you might find it useful too. So coming up next, guys, stay tuned. Welcome back. So, talking about vlogging equipment that I use when I'm out there shooting videos, right? Well, first things first, maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. I kind of like to simplify things. I know there are some people who like to use like really fancy gear and all that, which is great, For me, I kind of like to just use simple stuff that get the job done and to carry as less stuff as possible, because it is not fun when you are lugging everything around with you. So the first thing you guys will probably be asking is, what sort of camera you should be using, right? And honestly, there are heaps of cameras out there and they're all really good. And if you look at some of the top vloggers out there, they use really simple cameras. Of course, having said that, there are some people who use really powerful cameras, which, man, I wish I could afford one of those. So at the moment, the camera that I'm using is, I am actually using the Sony a6400, which is actually a decent camera. You can probably pick it up for maybe about just under 4,000 ringgit. What I do like about it is that it's very compact, lots of features, and also it's got amazing autofocus. That was actually the first thing that I was actually looking out for when I was looking for a camera. What I didn't like about it was that it has no stabilizer. It's got no built-in IBIS. So you gotta have like really stable hands when you're using it, and it actually takes practice, okay? I mean, the first few videos I took looked horrible, totally unusable footages. Another thing that's not fantastic about the Sony a6400 is that it's got poor battery life. I have at least, I think, like 5 batteries, okay? The Sony a6400 comes with like this sort of batteries, and I've got like 5 of these. So, and when I do especially food run videos where it takes like an entire day, I literally start at maybe 5, 6 a.m. and I get to the first location at 7 at the crack of dawn, right? And I will be filming all the way, and I finish, and I usually just drain all 5 batteries, and I had to do a recharge, okay, while I'm driving out there on the road. So that's the thing that's not great about the a6400. But apart from that, I think I'm pretty happy with it. It works. Believe it or not, I actually use the kit lens that comes with the Sony a fair bit. Check it out. This is 16-50, so 50 is a good length. I don't want to get into the technical part of videography or photography and all that, but basically you can actually do some zoom in and zoom out, which is decent. Quality for this lens is okay. However, what it has going is that it's lightweight. So again, compact, easy to carry around, gets my vote. Okay, the only other lens that I actually invested in was actually the Sigma 1.4. So this is actually a pretty fast lens. It's actually a prime lens. So not to get too complicated, right? Prime lenses, basically you can't zoom in and out, but you actually get better picture quality. Another way to sort of simplify to explain this is that when you want to focus on a subject, it really stands out and the background will be totally blurred. So it sort of stands out and people kind of like that. That's like a desired effect. I'll give an example. I'm not sure if I've got enough light here, but okay, let's say for this one, and I wanted to sort of show you, right? It basically just zooms right in and you can see the background, my face and all that is sort of blurry. So this picture actually stands out and it's quite a fast lens. So once I pull this away, you'll realize that the focus snaps back to my face really quickly. Pow! See? So, I actually really like the way this lens works. By the way, I'm actually shooting this with the Sigma. It's actually a wide-angle lens. It's a wide-angle prime lens. Pow! See? Pretty cool. So I use this. Great value for money. The only other problem is that there's no stabilization. It's shaky as hell. But I think over time, I sort of, with practice and all that, you sort of get it a bit more stable and the footages are a little bit more useful. So that's basically it. I use the kit lens and I also use the Sigma to do vlogs at this point because it's wide angle. And you want wide angle sort of lenses so that when you sort of do like a selfie sort of video and people can literally catch the background and sort of see what you see also, which makes it more interesting. I actually use the handphone So right now I am actually using the Apple XS Max. It's really useful because it's convenient, it's small, it's compact. So on one hand I am hanging on to the larger camera, and I also have basically a handphone in my back pocket. So that kind of works. And I've shot quite a few videos with B-rolls with this phone camera actually. Some of the stuff that you see when I'm digging into food, when I do like food run videos and all that, that's actually shot with the phone camera. You also see it, I think the more recent one I shot was Baba and Brownies, and also the Uzbek food video. Some of the B-roll of the food was actually done with the phone camera. So pretty useful stuff, I like it, convenient, compact. Another camera that I do use in vlogs is also the Osmo Pocket. So the Osmo Pocket, as you can tell, true to its name, this is the Osmo Pocket 1. I think they've got a new one right now. So it's actually a pretty compact camera. The thing about this camera is that it actually offers very stabilized shots. And you will see a lot of videos that I do on, let's say when I'm in the car, it's actually shot on the Osmo Pocket. So that's for cameras. So basically I've got 3 cameras that I will be using. One is the main camera, and then of course my phone camera because it's so handy, and of course when I am doing shots where I'm driving and all that, it's done on the Osmo Pocket. So that helps. So let's talk about sound. So as cliche as it may sort of appear, where people say, if the sound is terrible, the video is literally useless, right? Which is actually true because, you need to have proper sound. At the moment, what I have had a lot of luck with is actually the Rode Wireless Go, which is what I'm using right now. Simple to operate, lightweight, compact, gets the job done, and it's got really good battery life. So I use this for most of my shoots. I do have different microphones. I also have the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, which is it's a much bigger microphone, but at the same time it's also more superior, to be honest. The sound is better. I don't know, my only complaint is that it's kind of bulky, so I don't really like using this one when I have the choice. And when you're sort of like vlogging and you're carrying everything together, you've got like a big camera, big lens, and a big black sort of dildo shaped thing right in front of your face, which makes you feel really uncomfortable. But some people like it, right? Some people do. Now, another microphone that I do use, but this is not for vlogging, this is usually when I am back in the studio and I am doing editing, is, let me show you, hang on. Let me just set this up. This is actually, this is an amazing mic. This is actually the Rode NT USB Mini, right? You can actually pick this up for, I think, less than 600 ringgit. And this is where I do most of the recording for my voiceovers. And yeah, so to do like voiceover led videos, and when I come back and I do the editing, I actually just record this off and it goes straight into the computer. And basically I use GarageBand, which is good enough, and then I would just put it in and put it together in post. So that's it. Simple, straightforward, great value for money, very clear, very well built mic, solid. So I like this mic very much. This is a very good investment. So that's how it looks like. Okay, let's get it out of frame. So the next thing is for tripods. Tripods, I actually use the Joby. I got 2 actually. I use the Joby 3K. I also use the Joby 1K. So the difference is basically just the 1K is smaller than the 3K. This one holds 1 kilo payload. This one is 3 kilo payload. So it depends how heavy your camera set is. To be honest, these are great investments because they are very versatile. They get the job done. This one is a small one. You can just hold the camera, you mount the camera here, and it's compact. And once if I want to shoot a video and I need a camera in front of me at my table, I just basically just set this up and it works in any direction. So that's great. So this is the 3K. That's when I have to use the Rode and the bigger, and when it's all set up and you have to use the Rode and basically the bigger microphone and the bigger lenses and all that. So this is a slightly bigger setup. It's heavy, you will end up switching hands. But I can tell you, of all tripods that I have, and I've got quite a few of them, this is actually the one that I use the most. So this one is really utilized. It's hardy. So this one will set you back maybe about, I think I paid maybe just under 300 ringgit for this. You might be able to get it cheaper. I think I bought this in Lazada, I can't remember. Another thing that I also carry along with me are these portable LED lights. I've got 2 of them. They're very simple to operate. You can just turn it on and it works, and you can mount it on your camera. They last for easily at 3 hours, no issues at all. I've used this in quite a few shoots actually. I've actually used it in the UK versus Malaysia shoot. I'll leave the links down in the description section below. So another question that I do get asked, is like, what sort of software am I using to edit these videos? So at the moment, I use Final Cut Pro, which is a native app for Apple users, unfortunately. So if you're a PC user, probably it's not time to get a Mac. One thing I like about Final Cut Pro is that number one, it's a one-off payment. I understand that there's other softwares out there which I'm sure are better. However, they actually go on a subscription model, which I don't know, I'm not very comfortable with that. I kind of like to just pay it off and not worry about it anymore. So okay, we talked about, using the camera and shooting the videos and the microphone and basically also, the batteries and all that. There's also one more thing that I do use when I'm editing videos, which is really important. Let me just show you guys what it is. Okay, so I also use these Sennheiser monitors headphones. This is the Sennheiser HD300 Pro. So the big difference when you're using monitor headphones is that basically you hear the sound as natural as possible. In other words, as it was recorded, as opposed to, some of those Sony or the Beats headphones where it's extra bass and all that. So when you're doing editing, you don't want any of that kind of stuff. You want to be able to hear it as pure as possible. And also it is pretty sensitive to, for you to pick up whatever sound or rumblings or, cracking sounds that's not supposed to be there. Unless of course it's a roast pork video, then it's going to be there, that crackling sound. But apart from that, it's really important for you to actually have good headphones so that you can actually pick up some of that sound. Because what I did realize is that, interestingly, when you are editing a video and you have that final material that's already ready and you want to upload it, right? You will kind of realize that it sounds different on a phone, and it sounds different on a laptop, and it sounds different on a TV. I don't know why, but it sounds different.
What?
So you want to be able to sort of pick up, and sort of fine-tune some of the things that before you sort of upload the video, all right? That makes sense. So another thing is that you are obsessed with getting really stable shots and all that. Some people will use a gimbal. So this is something that I invested in, which is the Webuild S. Honestly, I'm not much of a gimbal person. To sum it up, I actually hate using gimbals because they are bulky, they are slow, and you sometimes, you miss that moment where you're supposed to capture that part. It's just, I don't know, maybe I just need more practice, but personally, I'm not really a gimbal person. I find it slow, I find it bulky, I find that they fail, it's too mechanical. I don't know. Let's not talk about this. I hate this. So we have come to the end of today's video on some of the equipment that I use for vlogging and shooting food vlogs out there. Let me know in the comments section below if you think that I am wasting too much money on all this junk, or they are good investments. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, we've come to the end. If you enjoyed watching today's video, consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, and also hit that bell, and I shall see you in the next one. Ciao.